Hello travelers, Boardman21 here, and today's build is the Sword and Dagger Flurry channeled full hit damage build. We're going to have 100% crit, and we're going to be doing as many hits as possible for decent damage. We'll be hitting for 1 to 2,000 damage crits, but we're going to be attacking so fast it's ridiculous. You literally won't see anything but a blur of numbers on the mobs, to the point where you might even want to turn it off because there's so many. Now, since we are using Flurry and it is channeled, Flurry is meant for like a single target type area, but we're going to do the Shockwave Force Wave again with its range so that you can hit a lot of things all at once. Compared to the Dual Dagger Poison build, I would say this kills things in roughly the same amount of time when it comes to rares and bosses that have a load of health, because the hit damage does take a while, but for trash mobs and magic mobs, this thing just one hits them. You just get right through it, so it is faster in the sense that, like, for trash mobs you just one hit them and you move on. For bosses, since the poison damage was very potent once you got the stacks, it's about the same as that. As you'll see in the footage, you kill everything in about the same amount of speed. So if you're just wanting to farm bosses and things with high amounts of health, go ahead and do either build. If you're wanting to, kill everything, this build is going to be a little bit faster for you. And in the arena, and of course, also you get more leech because you're doing more of that damage, and most damage leech that you get is on hit. Alright, let's go ahead and get into the skills. For skills, we're running Flurry, Shift, Acid Flask, Smoke Bomb, and Decoy. For Flurry, we have this set up basically the same way we did for Poison, except that we changed a little bit around when it came to getting more crit with it and more damage with the third strike versus getting the poison and bleed on the first hit. But for this, we have 3 points in the attack speed for 15% more attack speed, 1 point in boundless blows, 1 point in accelerating impact, 2 points in blood reveille for that leech, 1 point in second wind for health gain on each hit, and 2 points for sap willpower for that mana gain on each hit. We have 1 point in deep strikes for some more multiplicative damage, 3 points in precision. This 6% base critical strike chance basically guarantees you're always going to crit with it. 3 points in crescendo, so that your third strike does 75% more damage. You will lose a little bit of damage on your first and second strike, but it makes up for it. 1 point in shockwave, so that you get a force wave to basically extend the range of the skill in one direction, and 2 points in building waves to increase that range by 30%. You can take these 2 points out, as has been noted on the forums, and you can put them into Relentless and Adrenaline Rush, just 1 point each, so that you can get a little bit more damage if you happen to have all 4 stacks, and a little bit more attack speed based off the last amount of hits that your Flurry had done. Now, 1 hit of Flurry is the last 3 strikes. Flurry is a 3-strike skill, so even if you're channeling, it's basically every 3 strikes is what will count as one of your previous Flurries. For a shift, we have this set up to still do the acid flask for us. We're still invincible, we're still getting that huge dodge, but we went a little bit more into the melee with it. So we have 3 points in momentum for that haste, 4 points in swift recovery to get that mana gain on use, to basically be the equivalent of the cost of the skill, 1 point in shadow slip, so we're invulnerable while shifting, 5 points in elusive for that 150 dodge rating per point of dex, 2 points in parting gift, 2 points in arrival gift, so that we have a flask bolt on departure and arrival, 2 points on shadow recuperation to be healed a little bit when we shift, and 1 point unseen strike, so that we do some melee damage along the path. We'll hit some enemies while we are shifting, so if you are low on health, not only will you get the healing amount and gain the dodge, but you'll leech a little bit as well. For Acid Flask, we have this set up for a bunch of shred and debuffs. We have 4 points in hindering mixtures for a slow chance, 4 points in Splash Zone to increase the area, 2 points in corrosive for increased damage, 4 points in tempered glass for 4 stacks of armor shred on all those that are hit, 3 points on Explorer Speed to give ourselves some haste chance, 1 point on Lightweight for some travel speed of the flask, and for Debilitate for that frailty chance on all enemies hit, which will make them do less damage. For Smoke Bomb, we have 5 points in duration, 5 points in Smoke Blades for that melee damage, 3 points in Blood Bandit for that melee leech, 1 point in Thick Smoke for that 1 stack of slow, and 1 point in Eroding Fumes for 1 stack of armor shred. All that's going to help you do a little bit more damage towards the enemies. And for Decoy, we have this set up to apply a bunch of shred as well. We have 1 point embedded spikes to reflect a little bit of damage, 1 point in lasting presence for your duration to be increased a little bit. This will increase the cooldown the same amount. 2 points so we get a little bit of dodge rating with active decoy. 2 points in efficient construction for the mana efficiency, 1 point in sonic detonation so that it will apply armor shred and frailty stacks when it emits its sonic wave. 1 point in earth shatter will also apply an additional armor shred stack, and armor shred duration is increased. 1 point in warning sound so that if we get hit by the sonic wave or an ally in multiplayer, they will gain haste. 5 points in boom for that final explosion and area to be huge, 2 points in short fuse, 2 points in burning oil, and 2 points in meticulous construction for a lot more hit damage on that final explosion. We're not really using the decoy too much, but it is always nice when you need the mobs to chase something else for a bit to just throw one out. You'll get pretty decent damage out of it and a couple of debuffs on the enemies and a buff of haste for you. For passives, we have 28 points in the rogue base class with 8 points in Swift Assassin, 1 point in Steady Hand, 1 point in Twin Blade, 5 points in Duelist, 8 points in Critical Precision, and 5 points in Dodge and Parry. No points in the Marksman and 63 points in the Blade Master, with 1 point in Cloak of Shadows, 8 points in Pursuit, 1 point in Flow, 1 point in Rhythm, 5 points in Tempo, 8 points in Once, 1 point in Scarlet Stream, 4 points in Crimson Shroud, 5 points in Blood Dance, 1 point in Flash of Steel, 10 points in Weapons of Choice. We have Sword and Dagger for that 150% crit multi, 6 points in Asuban's Pact, 1 point in Perfection, 1 point in Confidence, and 4 points in Exuberance with our next point when we level up going here. This will give us 50% increased damage at full health and another 90% increased damage while at full health, which is a really nice buff. 1 point in Critical Eye to increase our critical strike chance and to make mobs more vulnerable to a critical strike, and 5 points in All In for that critical strike multiplier. The less damage dealt by non-critical hits doesn't even matter because we have 100% crit. For items and idols, we have a bunch of different types of idols on. We have increased critical strike chance per equipped dagger. We have increased damage while wielding a dagger. And we have critical strike multiplier while dual welding. Now, you can get a combination mixture. This 1x3 is pretty much the best one that I could find because you get critical strike multiplier and you get increased damage while wielding a dagger. But the critical strike while you have an equipped dagger is also nice to help you on that 100% crit path that you're leading towards. For our items, we are wearing a Destiny Sword with increased melee damage and increased melee critical strike chance. Instead of increased melee damage, flat melee physical damage is probably better, but I didn't want to search for a whole another weapon. Either one will still do good damage. We also have stun chats with melee attacks and chance to apply frailty on melee hit. For our dagger, we have added melee physical damage, melee attack speed, chance to shred armor, and chance to apply frailty on melee hit. For our chest, we have vitality, we have dex, and then we have increased critical strike chance per equipped sword and increased damage while wielding a sword. This was an awesome drop that we got. It only has tier 1 vitality and tier 1 dex, which is, okay, but we got high tiers on the critical strike chance and the increased damage while wielding a sword, which is nice. For our helm, we have increased cooldown recovery, increased dex, damage while wielding a sword, and increased health. If you can get more increased health, that's always effective for your build for survivability. For our Jade Amulet, we have increased critical strike chance, physical pen, elemental resistance, and flat health. For our ring, bite, dex, health, and dodge. For our other rings, set necrotic. These items were on our other build, we just moved them over. Have set necrotic, dex, health, and dodge rating. For our belt, we have set fizz, set necrotic, hybrid health, increased health. For our gloves, we have set physical, increased melee attack speed, dodge rating, and hybrid health. For the boots, set fizz, set necrotic, elemental resist, and increased movement speed. And then for the relic, we have set fizz, set necrotic, flat health, and elemental resist. For the character sheet, you can see that we have our resistances up, a little lacking on lightning and cold, 19% armor, 40% dodge. Of course, when you shift, you get increased dodge. When you have smoke bomb active, you get increased glancing blow and increased dodge. And then for our damage, as you can see, this is one of the higher damaging builds actually seen there since we're not ailment based, and we have 500% physical damage, which is pretty nice for the build, and we're still sitting over 600% critical strike multiplier, although I do see that coming down as one of the passives is bug, and it's giving you multiplicative critical strike multiplier instead of just added, so that's a big boost to this. I'd see it drop down to probably 500%. For the skill rotation and how I play the build, I once again put Smoke Bomb on autocast, so it's just going off whenever it can, and then I don't even really worry about Decoy or Acid Flask. I'll never actually manually cast the Acid Flask since I get them when I shift. The Decoy I'll just do when I have a huge group following me and I know I'm about to take a bunch of hits or about to be engulfed in a bunch of rears, or get to the boss and have an area where I'm just staying in one spot. So we have Smoke Bomb constantly going off, we'll shift around, and then you'll just sit here and hit with Flurry. Not too difficult. You can see we're just doing some massive damage with it. You can get anywhere from 5 to 20k crits against the training dummy, and then again you saw on mobs you're doing about 500 to 2,000 damage on mobs, and it's just a massive amount of damage that you can do. You'll have to stop channeling every once in a while to let Smoke Bomb go off. You can throw down a Decoy if you want, let him do his damage, and as you can see, that's just how you play. You just run around, shift to the next enemy, and nail them with some good old Flurry hits. Alright, let's get into some more gameplay.